Mulholland Drive is a 2001 surreal mystery thriller written and directed by David Lynch, starring Naomi Watts, Laura Harring, and Justin Theroux. And Mulholland Drive. I love this film. If you're fans of the channel, you know how much I adore David Lynch's work. And Mulholland Drive, I'd say, after I watched his entire career multiple times, I think it's his best film. Now, when it comes to personal preferences and stuff, I do prefer Twin Peaks: The Return, even though it's not a film. I do prefer Blue Velvet, it's easily my favorite out of his work. But there is just something about Mulholland Drive that makes it special. And what is it? What is Mulholland Drive about? That's a question that people going in ask. That's a question that even more people ask after the film is done. Mulholland Drive is about many things. Mulholland Drive is a critique, a satire of Hollywood system. It's the loss of power that some directors have over their own projects. It's about how casting is highly influenced by producers, how talent sometimes is not as important as other factors in casting. There is a lot of critique of Hollywood, even though Lynch has stated that it didn't mean to make it about that, or for him it isn't about that. It's such a big part of the film that it's hard not to see it in that way. But Mulholland Drive is also a film about deconstructing cinema itself. The film is notable, and I won't be going into spoilers, but the film is notable for having kind of a 180 turn at one point, and everything that happens before that turn I absolutely adore, for how Lynch uses classic cinematic conventions, especially of cinema world, that are just effective on an inherent level. If you've seen films, you know you're expecting things to go a certain way because of how they're set up. You know, for instance, when you have a dolly quick, like getting straight into the face of someone when two people meet for the first time and they cross eyes across the room, it's like, oh yes, they're gonna fall in love. You think all of those things, you know they're gonna lead to that because you've seen other films that do the exact same thing over and over and over. Only that Lynch plays you. Lynch plays everyone with this film. And this is also, again, the construction of cinema, of how there is this magical allure of the silver screen, of fabricated images and fake sounds that you know are fake. You know nothing is real in a film, and yet it elicits something real in you, the person, the viewer. And that's definitely a strong element of Mulholland Drive. And it's also, again, it's a critique of Hollywood, but it's also a love letter to Hollywood. From the locations, you have Sunset Boulevard, which is one of his favorite films. It's a street in this one. Some of the actors that are cast in this, there is a lot of love for classic Hollywood. And this film is absolutely wonderful. It is a terrifying watch, incredibly tense. It has some moments of humor that come out of nowhere and are delightful. It is an emotional roller coaster, and I believe it's Lynch's best work, from the transitions to the use of music, of Badalamenti's score and some other songs. It's just it's utterly masterful, and I don't think this film would work nearly as well if it weren't for the performances. Now, Laura Harring unfortunately hasn't gone on to make that much in her career. She's still acclaimed and famous, but up to a point. But her performance in this is great. As the amnesiac Rita, there is just something, again, she feels like a femme fatale from a film from the 50s. She has that kind of screen presence to her. But then Naomi Watts. Naomi Watts is an actress that I do like. I'm not in love with her. I never really particularly loved her in any film except for Mulholland Drive, because she delivers such a layered performance and she goes through such wide ranges of emotions that it's absolutely just confusing and baffling to me that she was not nominated for an Oscar or any major award, because she truly deserved it. She was fantastic in this film. But everyone in the cast There is a fascinating line in this film, again talking about the 180 turn. Before that, everything is very over the top, everything is very self-aware in the performances, in how the scenes are constructed. Even though there is an underlying sense of unease, it does feel very much like a real movie of Hollywood with all these weird characters and quirkiness and stuff. And that David Lynch most definitely knows it, but the actors know it as well. They convey that feeling perfectly, because then once the 180 turn happens, things just change. The performances, everything becomes more grounded in reality, more real, more dirty, more nasty, in the sets as well, the performances. And it could have easily been something that fucked up the entire film. Instead, it just elevates it to what is undeniably a masterpiece of cinema. It is not a coincidence, as this has been hailed by many, including the BFI, the Cahiers du Cinéma, that it's one of the best films ever made, and most definitely one of the highlights of the 21st century so far. And yes, I've seen this film twice. I have a good grasp now, finally, of the narrative, of what happens, of the themes, and it's still a film that keeps on giving. It's the kind of film that you can watch over and over and over, and you're always going to get something new out of it. And I think that's the power of David Lynch, that's the power of surrealist cinema, and that's the power of a true masterpiece. So guys, have you watched Mulholland Drive? And which is your favorite David Lynch film? Tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.